Welcome to the Programmatic Digest podcast, a weekly roundup of top programmatic news with fellow programmatic ninjas. I'm your host, Ellen Parker, your very own programmatic sensei. Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into today's conversation, subscribe, like, and share. Leave us a comment if you need any more details. Visit our website, programmaticdigest.com, programmaticdigest.com, where you'll be prompted for our new weekly or monthly newsletter. It only alerts you when there's a new episode live. So thank you so much for all your support and love, and remember to be curious. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the Sensei's Corner, Anu. I'm super excited to have you on the pod. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's been a really nice, chilled Thursday. Not too stressful as we were talking about. I've got some very grateful clients that I'm working with, which feels like such a refreshing change of pace considering some previous experiences. So yeah, it's been a lovely day. How are you?
Oh my gosh, that's quite refreshing. I've been having the same day. It's been cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, but it's been on the really like gratitude vibe, and I'm manifesting like charisma and positiveness, which is how we're going to continue with this conversation. We're going to talk about Google's latest update, which there's always an update, but specifically on the SEM side of things. So usually we invite, the conversation is very programmatic media focused, but I wanted to talk to you because you're expert in your field, and I'll let you introduce yourself in a hot second. But like, I really want to pick your brain in terms of where we stand as an industry when it comes to some of the latest Google updates. And then also we'll touch on data privacy because you're located in the UK, right?
Correct.
So that's different privacy standard that we have here in the US. So tell us a little bit about yourself first before we get into the non-sexy conversation.
Sure, my pleasure. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this amazing platform of yours, and I hope your many listeners appreciate appreciate what I've got to offer. You never know. But yeah, I'm Manu. As Ellen said, I've been in the industry for like over 12 years now, double digits. When you get to double digits, you just start feeling so old. I don't care how lower end of that double digits you're on.
You say 10 plus at this point. That's what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, let's just do 10 plus. I know. Exactly. 10 plus. Let's go to 10 plus. And yeah, it's been paid search has been my bread and butter. I really got into it because I love Microsoft Excel. I love data analysis and just looking at those numbers, because with paid search, I just loved about how responsive and reactive like the paid ads are, and you see the data straight away and you can quickly test whether something's working or not. And I've had experiences where you speak to, or even like the last talk conference I was at, Brighton SEO, amazing speakers there in the UK. And somebody who was an SEO person was like, there's some things that are really great to test, but even when we're doing SEO, and it can take a long while. So sometimes what we do is that we'll just give like this landing page or this keyword to our paid search counterpart, and they can test it and they can see the data, the results quickly, and tell the client, work with the client, to confirm whether something is going to work or not. So that's been such a great, I love being in that position to be able to prove quickly whether something works or not when it comes to driving traffic to the landing page. I love the way it needs to be, and very collaborative thing with other channels, with programmatic, with CRO and SEO and email and all the digital channels. I'm very big of let's increase ROI for the client, for the business, for the brand, not just about pushing paid search and making sure everything is spent in paid search.
Absolutely. And that's why I like to invite guests first from a different background in terms of culturally, but professionally and personally, because I think that we are great at staying having tunnel vision sometimes, especially as American. We like to focus on here, and
in the UK as well.
we're not as good as being as diverse in our thinking and in our ways of collaborating outside of the US. So that's why I really wanted to chat with you, because I know that with your expertise, we can all learn from. And I think that's a great segue into why we're having the conversation today, because there's a lot going on. And when we had our intro chat not too long ago, I was like, I don't know half the stuff she's talking about. So I know somebody can learn from you. So here we are. So so I used to ask this question at the end of the podcast, but I recently came across this podcast called AdOps All-Star. It's a podcast from Kathleen Booth from Clean.io. She's a VP of something for that company. It's a really big company here, agency. And AdTech, sorry. So she opens all of her podcasts by asking like a icebreaker question. So I'm going to do the same thing. So before we get into the questions today, let's talk about you, right? So tell us one fun fact about yourself.
One fun fact. This is a fact that people do find quite a bit of like, wow, and like chatting to me about. I will admit. So I ride a motorbike.
A motorbike?
Yes, like a proper full hog 300cc big monster motorbike. Yeah, exactly. I always get that look that you got when I tell people. People look at me and just go, "Oh, lovely girl, lovely digital girl," and I say I ride a motorbike, and they're like, "Wait." They just can't.
Let me Google this. What kind of motorbike you? So okay, you call it motorbike in the UK, but we call it motorcycle here, right? So it's different.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle do you have? You said
it's a Yamaha R3. If you look for Yamaha R3 300cc, that's my motorbike, and you'll see it's a big bike. It's black and red, and I know this is this is not being objective, but I do think it's quite badass. Like my bike.
No, it is. It looks really badass. First of all, so for our friends listening to the podcast, I'm going to have a matter of fact, you should take a picture of yours and send it to me so I can add it in the show notes. But just in case you pause at the moment, you can Google Yamaha R3 300cc, and it's like a really sexy motorcycle that comes on. So I'm not I'm not expert at that, but I think it's really great. That's like really fun, a really fun fact.
Yeah, I've been riding for I was looking at the.
I already knew you were badass, but that just like confirmed it all.
It right?
It confirmed it all. So thank you so much for confirming. So let's get into today's conversation. So let's talk about Google. So you started talking, mentioning a latest update about Google. And so tell us what's happening.
Welcome to the Programmatic Meetup. Yay! I'm so excited about this community that we're building. It's going to be a safe space for media buyers, ad ops, programmatic ninjas, data analysts like you and I, just to come up and talk about our day-to-day challenges in our direct roles, some of our wins, and some of our opportunities to grow, to educate ourselves. Some of the topic of discussion includes anything from optimization, best practice, QA, templating, workflow, operational workflow. I'll have guest appearance. I'm bringing my network to you, and the best part of it is that you'll have one-on-one questions with them. Oh, so excited about this, yo. I'm so hyped. So what to expect in your membership, right? You can expect 1 hour call every first and third Wednesday of the month. Access to all the recordings for the paid members within our community. Discounted one-on-one consulting with me and some of the guests that will be gracing us with their presence and their appearance. Customizable trainings, but most importantly, new best friends, y'all. I'm very excited about this opportunity. This is a community for you and I. This is a community for us to just join forces and really share, really just being able to be together in a community. There's so much growth when you're in a community, when you're able to relate to people, or somebody understands where you're coming from different perspective, right? So join today. Programmatic Meetup community is open to you. Bring your friends. Tell your friends to bring his friends, to bring her friends and his friends to meet up with us. We respect you. We love you. We appreciate you. We're ready to support you. So make sure you join the Programmatic Meetup. Thank you. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very excited about it. So thank you so much and see you soon.
Right now, what's happening, and I know we'll get more into like the second bit, but like, you know, I think two big pillars that Google are making, really doing a lot of moves and shakes in, is automation and data privacy. And automation is the one much more that they are, where they lately they are making more moves and shakes in. It's whether it's reducing the amount of search terms that they're showing us, then bringing back some of that. It's, you think all this data, they let us see everything in the first place. No, they have levers that they control to show us what they want us to see. And there has been talk of, well, not even talk, it has come directly from them. This lady that we've got a really great respect for in the industry, Ginny Marvin, who's Google's ad liaison, and she's very lovely. Yeah, she's exactly right. She's very active on Twitter. She's very responsive to questions. I think that was one of probably their best recruitment that they made to get her on board, someone that is so in touch with search advertisers. Because what I've always felt before was that Google don't necessarily actually converse with advertisers, with paid search managers or programmatic managers, as I can imagine from the look on your face. They don't really interact with us. So I feel like it's really great to get her on a board, who she's someone that interacts with us. She's very much part of the community, but now she's directly plugged into what's the happenings of Google. So it's really great to have her just letting us know the reasons why for some of the things. Of course, her hands are going to be tied in a lot of the things that are going to happen, but at least she communicates to us as to what's happening as soon, letting us know as soon as things are about to change or have changed. So it's really great. With automation, there's been a lot of changes in search terms. There's been changes in match types. Exact match is not really exact match was the first one they started on, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago now even, but it just has gone more into they gave us broad match modifier, which was not as broad in terms of the search terms that comes through, but more specific that went away, to them, right? Broad. Now BMM, broad match modifier, has been sunsetted. They've gotten rid of that and just pretty much merged its functionality into phrase match. So we're back to just broad, phrase, exact match. A lot of people don't trust broad match, me being one of them. So I'm now just back to using just phrase and exact. And if there is, if we're seeing not a lot of search volume and not a lot of, impressions coming through exact phrase match, I'll dabble in a few broad match. A lot of layering of audiences, targeting, and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure the search terms that's coming through is very relevant. But yeah, I feel that's all the things they're doing in terms of even bid strategies, the different campaign types. There's a lot of smart campaigns, smart bidding, smart shopping. We jokingly say that they have diluted what the meaning of smart is anymore, because some of these smart campaigns are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And of course, with all the smarts, you don't get as much data as you would if it was a manual campaign. So with shopping campaigns, smart shopping campaigns, you don't get any search term results. They just, you just make it smart. It automatically looks at your feeds and automatically then matches. So yeah, they're making a lot of moves with automating even a lot of things. And also now they've moved on to, I feel like there was a lot of keyword related updates. The latest update, they shifted their focus to ad copy. Before we were able to manually create our text ads, be specific and have control as to what were in the headlines, what were in the descriptions. they a few years ago introduced responsive search ads, which meant that you could create up to 15 options, give the system 15 options of headlines, 4 options of description lines, and Google will then choose, and it will only show with any search, will only show like 2 or 3 of those headlines and then 2 of those description lines. But then it's kind of testing in between all the options if you give it what it should use. An announcement came out not too long ago that from next year, you're not going to be able to create expanded text ads. You're only going to be able to create responsive search ads. So it will always be pretty much like in Google testing mode, like the ad copies that you're using.
Okay.
There's a lot of disgruntlement about it. Some of our more experienced, the heads of companies, people have started the agencies, have been been in this industry for longer than I have. They are not bothered, and you know what? That's what experience teaches you, to be aware of what Google are like, to realize that change is inevitable. One of our experts, Dwayne Brown, just said that, look, if not for the pandemic, I feel that they would have even made that change this year, really. So it's something that he'd been seeing that was going to happen. You know what? Anyone that is worth their salt and anyone that has been paying attention to Google will know that this automation thing, he's right, automation thing is a train that they've been on, and they're not coming off that train. So yeah, we just need to just be on top of things, be aware, and now try to figure out using testing everything in ETAs and try to be more focused with what works. Because I think one of my big reservations about responsive search ads is the fact that a lot of the functionality that's available with expanded text ads is not available in responsive search ads. So if we're only going to be able to use responsive search ads, are you going to bring that functionality over? Are they going to bring all that functionality over? That's what's going to be really important to find out about, and hopefully they do that.
It seems like Google is also going through a lot in your field, because it is in my field as well. But it seems like they are providing or pushing for more internal automation on how we're doing that buy, how we're purchasing that. Not the media buy, how we're we're buying that keyword and serving that ad. Because why do you think they're pushing more for automation? Because I find it really interesting that they keep testing things, giving us a taste of it, and then taking it back in the case of broad match modifier, and now in the case of text expanded ads. So why do you think that Google is pushing for all those automation down our throat?
So, and this might sound quite conspiracy theorist. I think, all of us, it's a little bit conspiracy theorist. I don't have an insider in Google that will tell me whether I'm right or wrong. I suspect, as you know, we should never forget, Google is a business. They're trying to make profit. They're looking at year on year, and it's all about the whole, we need to increase year-on-year revenue 20% or 50% or whatever. That's the target everybody is given. And I think automation helps that, because I think a lot of what we do with our clients is not just, as I was mentioning earlier on, as to how the importance of integration with other channels. I think what that allows you to do is know where your point of diminishing return is, and know where you're like, look, if I spend more money, it's not going to get any revenue. So put that money into other channels. That's why I think integrated strategy is very important. If Google makes everything automated, they can justify, I feel, you spending more and then showing you the data you want to see, and be like, okay, you are getting more revenue, you are getting more out of this. And I think they're not even being shy about it, honestly. Like, there's some of the technologies that you have to have a minimum spend of something like 50K if you want to use this great tool, this great new update that they've got. And I don't even think in fact, I scratched what I earlier said. It's not conspiracy theory. It's pretty much quite.
No, I like what you're saying, because I do agree. I think that they are trying to present themselves as an efficient strategy, an efficient technology by pushing all those automation. And I think it's a sexier presentation, or it's sexier for a brand that may not have the internal support to go back and say, oh, well, this BMM is not working. Let me go ahead and optimize on a daily basis. So I understand from a business perspective why some should be automated. I think on the programmatic side, like the Trade Desk build a DSP called Solomar that is going to utilize their identity solutions that is going to help us in a cookieless world. So I'm talking more on the programmatic side here. And in Solomar, there's a lot of automation that's happening that the media buyer might not need to spend as much time on. So from that perspective, and having been a media buyer and having wasted a lot of time in Excel and in pulling graphs here, pivoting here and there, and then realizing that data doesn't have this metrics, I have to go back and pull it back again so I can repivot. So there's a lot of not wasted time, but time that could be better handled, more efficiently.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, if the automation that is happening within Google is going to make us as buyers, as SEM expert like yourself or in your team, if that is going to make my team more efficient, come on. But if it's also removing transparency, which I think that's what you mentioned, like we won't be able to see a few things, then that's where, as an expert, like my eyebrows can rise all the way up, back and down, and come back. I'm like, if you're helping me become better at my day-to-day job, better in my strategy for my brand or for my customers or for my, my agency, then cool, bet. But if at the same time you're removing the way for me to verify that this automation is working accordingly, then I would rather do all the work from I just don't trust it. Yeah. So it's annoying.
At the end of the day,
it's annoying.
At the end of the day, it's annoying. And I think as advertisers, one thing that really does frustrate us with Google is that we are trying to get our clients to spend more on Google. We do know to a certain extent paid search does work. So, talk to us about what will be better for the clients so that we can continue to get them to spend more, instead of just making all these changes that, kind of, you make our hands are tied, clients that ask about, hey, this thing that Google is doing, what's it about? And we're as blind and clueless as they are, because we're trying to get them to spend money on you, but you kind of just build barriers instead of work with us. And with all you're saying that you're a big fan of small businesses, you love small business. And I'm like, prove it, because every time that we're like, hey, our budget is little, you go, no, you need to spend 3 times that, 4 times that.
Just because I'm a small business, it doesn't mean that I'm still concerned of how, who, and where the ad that I'm spending money on is being served or how it's being optimized. Like, I need to trust the technology. And to be quite honest, like we have a lot of automation in the programmatic where I'm like, like frequencies of automation, any pre-bid, we call it the pre-bid filters, which is like frequency capabilities or like any targeting levers. We do it at beginning, and that's automatically done for us, right? And depending on the technology that you're using, they can even optimize, like bid on certain inventory higher than others based on how we have it set up. Of course, they can even optimize on our behalf based on that goal, that one KPI. So think CPA, CPM, whatever it is. So automation is not a bad thing. Like, matter of fact, that's why I'm a big fan of the Trade Desk. That's why I'm a big fan of AdLib, and I'm just citing DSPs out here. But that's because they offer a certain level of automation that if internally resources is lacking in that department, that the campaign is still being, optimized correctly and managed properly. But like, it's scary for me when you say that now I don't know how, when. Oh my God. It's like Facebook, when you run on their audience network, you cannot pull a report. And it's September 2021. So if it's different now, please DM me, y'all. Don't come for my head. But last I checked, when you run on the audience network on the Facebook side, you don't know where you're running. Isn't that scary?
That is scary. Yeah.
Oh, but it doesn't matter if you're performing well.
Yeah.
How you know?
Considering some of the landing pages we show on, and that's thing like that we talk about in our community very much so, about all the things that we'd like to negative out, like the whole search term stuff. Like when you actually look at especially when as I said, there was a time where they didn't show us what search terms we were showing against, and then they started showing us a little bit more. And people in our community were like, oh my God, look at this absolutely irrelevant search term that my ad showed against, and then you're like, how about all the stuff you're not even seeing? How about all the other, especially placements ads, because there's Google Display Network, they're always talking about, what, Google Display Network, anybody I think there's even a centralized something that someone has created, like for anyone who just wants to negate how, mobile site, some like mobile sites, some gaming sites, some
network
sites, and then
no transparency.
You just want to make sure that you have that control to be like, we don't, especially depend on some brands that need to be sensitive in that way. It's really important that we do not show against some sites. There's some like our paid search, experts in the community who represent clients that are very regulated, in the healthcare, some things that you can't say in ad copy because Google has started, given it, Google at some point actually tested out, we'll write the ad copy for you. Just give us your landing, we'll write the ad copy for you. And we were like, no, turn that off. Everything God, they allowed us to click a button to either say yes or no. All of us were like, off, make sure that is off. Like you're not writing ad copy for us. You do not know what our clients want to say to their customers.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I still don't see why the problem. Well, the challenge is, and I think it's a good segue into the data privacy conversation that I really want to have with you. Sure. The challenge is that allowing that type of automation has its pros, which we highlighted: efficiency of the team, efficiency of the strategy, how you buy, your budget efficiency. That's great when it comes to automation. The downfall is that the lack of transparency can sometimes occur. You just mentioned they wanted to control the ad copy. Well, then the other lack of transparency, like you're serving on a website that your brand wouldn't serve. Okay, think about negative political, really right-wing or left-wing, whatever it's called nowadays, type of content, like very negative content. Also, I would argue that news content can be very negative as well. So that's also something else. But those are the type of brand safety levers that we don't have access or view. Like you can see what's happening. So that's the downfall. Can I give you a
go
ahead. Tell me.
Example. So, and now this was more of like a newspaper, but I'm like, this could so happen in Display Network about how there was a news story that unfortunately is a very sad news story about this guy who, I don't know what he did to his wife, but she had been in a wardrobe deceased for several days. And obviously the term wardrobe was like in the headline, and a wardrobe company's advert was right underneath that news. Now does a wardrobe company want to be advertising right next to someone
person that passed away in a wardrobe? No, and that's the type of and I'm sure in our lifetime we have terrible brand safety examples, but that's just an example. So if you're thinking about like, oh, maybe like it's the fact that we are relinquished this access. And I think that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about data privacy with you, is because in the UK, in your side of the world, it's super different than in my side of the world. We're just trying to figure it out how to survive without third-party cookies. We still don't have privacy regulation.
Well, there is the CCPA,
under control.
the California.
We have some, but if you take a poll in the industry, CCPA may not, it's just one of those rules that, oh yeah, we'll add the cookie thing on the website. You know what I mean? Like it's still a pretty significant lack of understanding when it comes to data privacy. So talk to us about like, what's your point of view on that? Like, is it relevant? Is it not relevant? How are you handling it? Is it important? What can a consumer understand from their perspective and from the advertising perspective?
No, it's definitely very important. I think, we are getting more, consumers are getting more aware that they have a choice. Consumers are getting more aware that, they'll go on a website, that whole accept cookies or not, it's you're given permission or not to do something from now on. Although for me personally, from the consumer side of things, I look on the site and I'm like, yeah, accept cookies. Let me continue my shopping.
Same.
I don't care. I don't care. Let's say, you're blocking my view. Just go, accept whatever. Because some of them, which I think some sites do make it easy to choose options. Some sites go accept or go to another site to start doing, and you're like, I don't want to start going in to start choosing different settings and pulling differently and saying yes or no to some things. So I'll just accept. And so I feel some people are being cheeky. They're doing their bare minimum of what they're supposed to do, of doing accept, or we'll make it harder for you to actually block us. We'll make it harder for you to actually pick and choose what you want us to do. And so it's a tricky one on that end. For advertisers, I don't think they should worry too much. I think it's really, and I think it's even what automation does as well. It makes us really have to level up our games into being strategic. It makes us level up about how we write ad copy, how we actually express what value we're bringing to a consumer when our ad shows. That click is all the more important, because we're like, okay, if we're going to ask you to accept a cookie, you really need to buy them into clicking through on your ad copy to take them through to your site. I think it's going to be a lot more important to do audience layering, knowing who your consumers are, and doing that now. Because as Google announced earlier this year, their plans to remove cookies tracking. They've pushed it for like another couple of years. So
2023.
We now have time. We now have time to do a lot of testing. We now have time to be like, okay, who should we target to? What do they want to hear? How do we test to them? Do that now. We've never had that before. It's almost like a gift that Google has never given us. Knowing that an update is coming, but not for a while. Not for a long while, so we have time to test.
You bring a good point, and I just thought about this question, but I never thought about cookies affecting the SEM world as much as it is the programmatic world. Like, we overused third-party data when it comes to programmatically targeting consumers. And I actually have a social live series called Programmatically Correct. So I go live on Monday and Thursday around noon Eastern time. And I helped digital marketers demystify the whole programmatic stuff, like the whole world of shit that's happening on our end. I just help them understand that, listen, it's not as bad, but here it is. So this week, this theme was the cookie crumble. And I went on explaining anything from a programmatic side, but tell me how cookies are used on the SEM side, or how it would affect you. Because to programmatic, again, like the third-party data is from a cookie behavior, but on the SEM side is how me connect the dots here. How is that going to affect you?
you would have heard of the word, someone as brilliant as you will know the word attribution. It has come across.
Oh, yep. Okay. All right.
So it's the whole point that we know that you cannot track and you cannot, give value on last click anymore. We cannot just say, you can't just optimize on, okay, this paid search was the last click. Okay, that's how it's done. If a client stops running on Facebook, we see the effects. If a client stops doing some email marketing or increases even TV advertising, that's one of the most interesting cases I've worked with when I was working on one Voucher. These guys, this brand that do you can get sales a lot of money off on different things and experiences, and the time that they'll do TV adverts, we'll see our search volume skyrocket. And it was nothing we were doing.
People
is we just made sure that we just made sure that we were bidding on their brand, and all of a sudden we'll see such an increase in terms in searches. And so it's that whole attribution thing, and especially like with analytics and tracking, we do a lot more of making sure that we're marrying that data, and even targeting for us, audience targeting, demographic targeting, all of that kind of things. It's from third-party data that we need all of that. So all our data, we do a lot of looking at analytics data and looking at the journey and doing a little bit of as much as possible of attribution optimization to do. That is all is needed. Is third-party cookies is needed for that.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that perspective. Like programmatic brain here. Automatically when I hear a third-party data, I think about in-market financial based segments, audience that are in market for something, intending to or have visited this.
We've started doing that as well. We have that data in Google Ads. You can literally target in market,
interest-based affinity, you can do that.
All of
so
that.
I forgot that there is this option to do and put the audience at observation, but also something as simple as demographical data is based on cookies. So like female, male between a certain age, and then location is also cool.
Socioeconomic, and even socioeconomical status, financial stats. All of that,
but you said something earlier, and I just want to make sure that's for my brain here. So you said so our industry operates on last click, even though it's not always the best, it operates on last click. So you said that that's going away. I would think that would be, break it down for me, help me understand. And maybe that's just my brain fart of the day. But what do you mean by it's going away?
So basically we shouldn't be optimizing towards last click, because that's the whole, it's there, it's available. I don't think necessarily it's going away.
Even on the programmatic side we do that.
But we shouldn't be doing it that way. We shouldn't be optimizing that way. We shouldn't be saying just optimizing and saying, oh, it's only the clicks that we've seen work on paid search on last click that is converted that we should keep, and everything else we should stop working towards. Or let's say
put more
because
money
we
there
see
and not there,
we just put more money there. It's been that, I think the whole moving away from last click has really saved programmatic and display for us, honestly, because I think there was a time where you couldn't, for love of money, could not prove that display worked. We'd literally sit there and we'd be like, CPA of paid search would be something like £1, £2. CPA of like display of programmatic would be like £20, £30, and they'll be like, it's a lot, paid search is a lot cheaper, we're getting more fast of paid search, we're just throwing impressions out there and display is not working, let's turn off display. You turn off display, all of a sudden paid search volume starts dropping as well.
We
were seeing that, and so we were like, guys, what has happened? And then they'll start shouting at us, hey, what has happened? Why is volume gone down? And then we turn around and go, what activity are you turned off? And literally, that will be our question. And we'll be like, well, we stopped doing display because it wasn't working. And we're like, no, but it was working for us. Once you stop doing it, it's fueling. It's fueling because display, we've started realizing display and programmatic is very great for brand awareness. Brand awareness is very important for you.
You got to keep funneling in your new eyeballs and the new consumers. You got to keep, that's how you expand and that's how you scale. So, oh
Exactly.
man, this is such a great conversation, but I think we need to like go digest some of this information. And
Yeah.
super grateful that you were able to make the time. And
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So before we end the segment real quick, how about you just leave us with like words of wisdom? Like if you had to give yourself, your freshman self, an advice, let's say if it was you said 12 years, if it was 11 years ago, you just started, you're at entry level, what would be an advice you want to give yourself starting?
Just three words. Ask more questions. I think, keep asking more questions. Like
I love that.
they'll give us something thinking that that's all you need. And you go away going, oh, okay, they know best. Or, let me just work with this. But if you're confused, ask more questions. Don't be scared. Don't think your confusion means that you're inexperienced or, oh, you don't know anything better. Ask more questions. If the landing page does not make sense, ask the questions. Why is landing page? If all of a sudden paid search is not doing well and you've done all your work, ask more questions as to what other activity have you done? What recent activity have you possibly paused?
Yeah.
What has happened on the landing page?
Yeah.
The whole marrying of CRO as well has to become a lot more important because paid search will drive the traffic, will coming in as great CPC, great CTR. It goes to the landing page, no conversions. And then they'll start calling us, hey, why isn't paid search working?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we're driving the traffic. What have you done on the landing page?
What happened once you get there?
And it could be something as simple as, I don't know, the landing page connection to the checkout page is broken, or there's one of the web developers has just changed a little bit of code. All of a sudden, it's not working. I mean,
it's not clicking through. Yeah, it's so simple.
Sometimes
it's a simple answer. Oh man, I think it's a great way to end the podcast because like every time I ask this question, ask the question and stay curious and have the courage to ask the question is one of the common denominator. And I love that. And you're absolutely right. Ask the question, stay curious, stay courageous, and go live your best life. So thank you, Anu, for making the time. We super appreciate it.
My pleasure. This has been a great chat. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your love and support. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions, feedback, or just simply want to say hi, email us at info@programmaticdigest.com. You can also visit the website programmaticdigest.com, where we're always looking for guest hosts. We're also looking for sponsors. So hit us up if you're interested.